I don't need that.
All right. Hopefully that actually works this time. Get some audio here. This is Star Trek Europa. Once more. Let's go ahead and do one more round of introduction since we're doing it on Facebook for the first time. Brian, go ahead.
My name is Brian, he, him. I'm playing Captain Jored Hage of the USS Europa.
John.
Ooh, John, can't hear you.
Oh, you're muted, John. Can't hear you.
Right. Sorry about that.
There you go.
John McKnight. I am playing Science Officer and Second Officer Kasrianda Shabaraneva.
Ev.
Evelyn Corbin, I am playing the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Dasavi Onayat.
Jack.
Hello, I'm Jack, also known as Like Near Levels. I am playing Commander Irani Ambrose.
You want to go ahead and do the People's Ascension?
Yeah, sure. I just don't want to bog everyone down. I'll try to
That's
keep it quick. I'm also a streamer. You can find me over at my own channel, twitch.tv/The People's Ascension, where I run a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition game that is just kicking off a new story arc. So go check us out there if you want some fantasy to go along with the sci-fi.
Nice. And I'm your host, as always, Dr. RPG Jeff Harvey. You can check us out on all the places that I give away stuff for free. Check
We finished up uncovering a Power-Wraith infestation on Deep Space Nine, and we
and you'll find all the
set
stuff.
forth.
Where did we last leave off with Star Trek
final
Europa?
Destination,
in our
which is
prelude.
the distant Shackleton Expanse, starting with Narendra Station.
That about wraps it up. It's pretty good. Does anybody have anything they want to do before we get to Narendra? It's a pretty long trip, and I know that some people in our offline role plays I saw there was some stuff that people got done, and the first officer had announced that there was going to be tactical drills for everyone
Dasavi to do
partake in and love, because everyone loves
welcome
tactical
to
drills.
Medbay initial briefing
Does
for all the
anybody
med
have
staff
anything
now
else
that we
they
have
want
everybody.
to do before we get to Narendra, or do we want to just jump right in?
Okay. So we are in the med bay. The whole crew is gathered. We don't have I suppose being a smaller crew, we probably do have a conference room that would fit everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll do that, so we're not at all as
go ahead and set the scene up for that, and we can go from there.
So we'll be in the conference room, and we'll have the whole crew gathered, and Dasavi's sitting at the head of the table. Everybody has it's more of a relaxed atmosphere. She's got a cup of tea in front of her.
Probably.
And is kind of sitting with her hands like this, in fact. She waits for everything to settle down and all the side chat to stop. She says, welcome to the Europa. Many of you started out with us when we left the station. Welcome to those of you who joined us from DS9. I just wanted to welcome everyone. I wanted to also make my expectations clear and give the team a chance to ask any questions, voice any concerns, so forth. I suppose we'll address the elephant in the room off the bat. I have no doubt my reputation precedes me. I am known for being unorthodox. I'm also known for running a tight ship. If you have concerns in the moment, I understand if you want to voice your concerns once. We'll discuss it and then move on. My decision is final in the moment. In the case of a medical emergency, we don't have time to debate and hem and haw over decisions. I appreciate the ability to continue your work as directed despite any misgivings you may have. After everything is said and done, I invite you to come speak with me privately. I may or may not agree with you in the end, and that is what it is. But the expectation is, as I said, in the moment, do your job, and we can talk about it after. I also wanted to stress that transparency and ethics are incredibly important to not only Starfleet as a whole, but also to my medical team. We're not here for subterfuge. We are not here to hide things or run ruses on people, I suppose. If there is a concern, both for the patient or any concerns, really, honesty is the only policy. Any questions?
Dominguez Vega is going to ask a question. He's the counselor. Doctor, I get the impression that this is in response
the majority of the medical staff just kind of,
and I'm not sure,
just look at each other and kind of nod. I don't know if any of the
staff or your
counselors or the nurses want to say anything.
At least in my limited experience, unusual to have to warn Starfleet officers about telling the truth. Could you elaborate as to why this is happening?
There was an incident, and the people who are aware of it are aware. I preferred not to elaborate too much in depth. I don't want to start rumor mongering or an atmosphere of backbiting or us against them. I was asked to make policy clear.
And he'll blink and nod and drop the subject.
No, Delphine does not object.
And Dasabi will take a sip of her tea. With no further questions or comments, dismissed. Thank you for those of you on the third shift who have joined us at this ungodly hour for you. Get some rest.
Okay.
Should I read that thing I wrote?
All right, on that. Brian, you want to lead us off?
Sure. Before we do that, though, can we establish, John? Can we establish that Jored and Cass had that talk that we've been talking about in chat? We don't necessarily.
I have missed out on chat, so I have no context. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Jored said he was going to talk to Cass about it. We don't have to necessarily do it on screen. We can have it happen off screen, but it would have happened during the intervening time.
Do you know the it he's referring to?
Yeah.
I have no context whatsoever.
Jored wants to talk with Cass about the fact that the doctor should be consulted under medical matters.
Okay.
Yeah, not a big deal.
Just some context from the last session. So the captain is basically saying that he wants the second officer to consult with the doctor when dealing with medical matters beforehand, to defer to the doctor.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought I thought we talked about that in out of character chat as well.
Yeah, he's been busy. It happens.
Yeah, fair.
All right, go ahead and lead us off.
All right, so Captain's log, stardate 869.34. We've arrived at Narendra Station. It's taken us some 65 days to reach the Expanse, and I can tell that my crew is eager to get to our primary mission. Narendra Station is on the edge of Federation space and the last major way station before entering the region known as the Expanse. A joint Klingon Federation command, formerly known as Starbase 364, Narendra Station is our last stop before we get to our final destination.
All right. You arrive at Narendra Station, and it is a Stardock class starbase. I do not have an image of one, but everyone knows what the Stardock looks like. Actually, I don't have a lot of the images I meant to have today, and that's on me. But it is a Starbase it is a Stardock class starbase, which is the big one that most ships can fly inside of. You are welcome to dock and get to know the crew there. This is the main waypoint where you'll be launching from, going into the Expanse itself. When you arrive, you find your orbit around the station. You probably should read that, although it's a little late now. I'll have to do it next time, Brian. The starbase welcomes you into the area. There are a lot of Klingon ships here as well. So there is one Federation Birth class, and there are about 4 Burrell birds of prey. This station is a joint venture between the Federation and the Klingons, or at least that's what its original intention was back when it was built. Prior to the Dominion War, or just the beginning of the Dominion War, just before the Dominion War, I guess. It has survived throughout the course of the Dominion War, and it is, as I said before, the main launching point here. You have been cleared to dock if you wish. The commander of the station is Admiral April. I will tell you for sure. Just one second. Where did I put it? Here we go. Admiral April Herbert. There's also the commander of the Klingon force here, whose name is General Kargang. Sorry. And those are official Modifius things, so I took them. So you guys are welcome to go aboard and do what you want. You can have any time aboard ship that you want. Here you'll find all of your rumors and whatnot to be able to decide what you guys want to do next. So the ship, as you approach, does request permission to sync with the ships with the starbase once again, if you are going to allow that.
Yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't. Captain Hage is definitely going to request a meeting with the Admiral, and I think he'll bring Ambrose along as well.
Okay. Ambrose and the captain. You guys arrive. You beam aboard station, and you are greeted almost pretty much immediately by the Admiral. She's a little bit late coming to the transporter room to meet with you, but she's there. She's a middle-aged woman, probably in her late 40s, slender build, long blondish, reddish, grayish hair. I do have an image of her. I just don't have it with me today. I just didn't get everything up into the fantasy grounds like I meant to, which is my mistake. But she welcomes you. She's in her dress uniform, obviously, because admirals pretty much just flounce around all the time wearing dress uniforms. It's kind of their thing. Captain, I'm so glad to finally meet you, and Commander Ambrose, I assume.
Sir.
Welcome to Narendra Station. I hope you find your stay pleasant.
Glad to be here. It's a nice looking station you got here.
Well, it's definitely big. Walk with me, Captain. Let's head to my something as a transporter room.
Sure. We'll make small talk as he's walking. He'll say, we're pretty far from the core of the Federation. I'm sure you see all kinds of types out here.
We do. Mostly Klingons. There's a lot of Klingons. Don't get me wrong. I love the Klingons, and General Kargan has done an excellent job of keeping everyone working together cleanly. As you're walking through the station, there are a lot of Klingons on board this station. For a station the size that this is, you would expect to see either just emptier spaces or a lot of Starfleet officers. But what you really see is a lot of Klingons. There are Starfleet officers as well, but here we go. Go ahead.
Commander Ambrose, do me a favor and remind me to pick up some Ractigino beans here. With this many Klingons, they must be overflowing with the things.
Noted, sir. I'll add that to our requisitions.
Eventually, you arrive in the ops station and head up to the commander's, the admiral's lounge, I guess, as it were. Captain, I'm glad the Europa is finally here. You made better time than I expected, so forgive me if I'm not completely prepared. As you know, you'll be sending out into the Shackleton Expanse. The station has been here for a little over 5 years, and we've been exploring the Expanse for the majority of that time. We have, however, only explored a small portion of it. It's a dangerous place, and I want you to be aware that your ship will be the lead ship in the region, since the Bellerophon has gone missing.
Any leads on where the Bellerophon might have disappeared to?
Yes. Several years ago, the Bellerophon, around the beginning of the Dominion War, the Bellerophon was involved in an incident where it was, as far as we can tell, dragged into an alternate dimension, and we have yet to hear back from it. We have the region of space, but we have been unable to find much else. Several Federation and Klingon ships have been lost in the Expanse over the last 5 years. In fact, the Magellan, the Bellerophon, the IKS, Katang. And if you want to make a insight command roll, I'd like to know more about the Katang as well. But
Sure.
anyone who was involved in the Dominion War would probably know that ship.
That's a big old failure.
That's a big, terrible roll.
Insight and command.
Sure. Well, that's sufficient, and we'll give you a... Oh, I need to add up my threat here. There's 4 of you, so that gives me 10 threat.
It's double the amount of players, so 8.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's double the players plus 2, right?
Because
doesn't the GM also count? Yeah. I thought the GM counted.
Yeah, that's how we do it for Lex.
I'm pretty sure it's how it is, but we'll go down to 8 just, to make it nice for this session. All right. The Katang was the only vessel that remained unaffected by the Breen energy weapons during the original assault that destroyed the Defiant. So that's something that you would know, Ambrose. Starfleet has been exploring the Expanse for, as I said, about 5 years. In that time, many worlds have been discovered, and we have had many strange anomalies that we've been recording. However, they've only mapped a little less than 1% of the Expanse. Recent contacts with in the Malor sector have suggested that there may be a regional power that is, as of yet, unidentified by Starfleet. That is another thing you may wish to consider looking into. There's a great deal going on, Captain. I don't know.
Well, it sounds like one of our priorities should be finding out what's causing these disappearances. If we can find out what happened to these ships, at the very least, we can prevent it from happening to anyone else.
Hopefully. I will say that there's some a few other things that you may want to look out for. We are aware of a group of rogue Klingon vessels in the area, although General Kargan and his ships, his fleet, assure us that it's nothing but rabble, little more than pirates. And he has sworn that they will be wiped out before the end of the year, which it is now November, so he's got some swift work to do. There's also been some strange Go ahead.
Are the Klingons taking the lead on that? I would think that they would have a vested priority in taking care of their own.
At the moment, they are taking the lead on it. However, the generals... I am not one to question the general's loyalty. He has served faithfully the Empire for as long as I have known him. But these Klingons... There are a lot of Klingon warships in this region for mere pirates to be evading a general with such renown. Hopefully he can handle it. If not, Starfleet will have to intervene at some point, which is a diplomatic event I'm not looking forward to.
Well, I must say, it sounds like the ideal solution here would be for the general to take the fight to these Klingons. Sounds like he's lost the respect of his men, and that might be half of his problem.
It is possible.
If we were to locate these Klingons and send word back to Katang, do you think that he would step up to the plate?
It is certainly worth an opportunity, worth a chance of looking at it. I would hope he would. I mean, it would certainly do us a lot of good. We need to get this pirate situation under control. There has been what little trade we do in this system is hampered by them.
Well, the Europa's got some finely tuned sensors, but not as many guns as I think Mr. Ambrose would like. So I think we'd be best served finding the Klingons, letting the general take care of it.
What you think is best, Captain. You, as I said, will be the lead ship in the region. Some other things that we have known in the area, and speaking of Klingons, a recent Klingon long-range survey of the Halroon system has revealed a possible megastructure that appeared to be orbiting a singularity. However, the readings have not been able to be confirmed by any of the Starfleet long-range telescopes, and we have not had any ships in the sector to drop any probes So if you find yourself in that direction, we would certainly expect some additional investigation there as well.
I'd say that seems worth a look. Can you send the files to the Europa so we can know what we're in for?
Of course.
Perfect.
I will ensure that you are up to date on all of the recent activities in the region.
Excellent. We'll make sure and stop by.
Excellent. There is also some strange subspace signals that have been coming from the Avalian system. Long-range surveys indicate that one M-class world exists there, and scans have shown that a civilization on that planet appears to only be in the mid-21st century of Earth's level of technology. So we're not certain what those subspace signals are. Another thing that'd be worth investigating. I did send an Oberth class ship that way, but they were subsequently rerouted due to a medical emergency that is being addressed.
How serious is this medical emergency? We have a crack medical crew aboard. I'm sure we could be of assistance there.
It is possible. I do believe that ship likely has things under control, but you're welcome to... I will send the information to your doctors, to your sick bay as well.
Send word to the captain. We're on position to assist if he needs it.
Excellent. I believe the only other thing that I really have for you at the moment, Captain, is that there have been some additional strange readings. You'll find a lot of those in the Expanse. In the Nulst sector, we have sent several probes, but we have lost contact with each and every one of them. The information we do receive is slightly garbled. It's very garbled, but there seems to be some sort of massive energy source that is shrouded behind an event horizon. That one is a lower priority, but something worth investigating at some point.
Could it be tied to the ship disappearances?
Possible. It has not been in the similar region, and it is near the extent of our so far surveyed areas. But there is, in the Expanse, there is no knowing what is connected to what.
Well, that might be worth a look if even the possibility exists, given the severity of the disappearances.
Agreed. You have your work cut out for you, Captain, and I will leave the priority to you as to which investigation you wish to conduct first.
I'll consult with my senior officers, and we'll figure out which we're best in position to assist with.
Excellent. You should stop by and meet with the general as well. He was supposed to make this meeting, and I do not know where he is at the moment, but it'd be wise to introduce yourself to him, as he is the commander of the Klingon forces in the region.
I agree. I'll bring him a fruit basket.
Better be very spiky fruit. If you don't have any other questions, Captain, I will wish you the best of luck, and know that we are here for whatever service we can offer.
Of course. Hopefully, everything will go smoothly enough that we won't be seeing you too much. But it's always good to have a starbase in your pocket.
Yes. Well, that was Starfleet's hope. Good luck, Captain and Commander.
Hey, Jewel. Mr. Ambrose, did you have any questions?
I think we have a lot to look over and some decisions to make, but I think we're good for now.
Excellent. And so he'll shake the Admiral's hand and we'll depart.
Okay. You will note as you leave the Admiral's main office and head through the operations station to wherever it is you're going, there is a short woman with short dark hair cropped in a pretty typically Romulan cut. And she is wearing a sub-commander's insignia, rank insignia. So something slightly unusual to see on a Starfleet op station, but not entirely so since the Dominion War.
Good evening, Sub-Commander, or morning. I haven't consulted my chrono to see what local station time was.
It is, and she looks at the chronometer, Approximately 4 a.m., Captain.
Whew. Early morning then. How are you doing, Sub-Commander?
I am well. I trust that you are the captain of the newly arrived Europa.
That's me.
She absently just kind of types something on a panel next to her without looking at it. Excellent. It's excellent to meet you.
Sure.
I am Sub-Commander Toshari.
Well, are you here as a guest of the Klingons or as the Federation?
I am aboard as an observer. At the request of the Federation as part of our ongoing mutual aid.
Well, then observe away. Is there anything particular I could help you observe better?
She continues typing without looking without looking down at it. I believe that I would very much like a tour of your ship at some point, if you do not mind, Captain.
Well, I'm not sure that there'd be too much for you to see. The Europa's barely made it through their shakedown cruise. Let me see what I can do.
I look forward to it, Captain. Good morning. And she keeps typing.
Good morning.
Could I take that time to get a read on her?
Sure. What is that? Insight and command, probably?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I would also like to roll this, and I have
Yeah.
empathy as a focus. Does that count?
I'm not sure empathy does. I mean, I can use it. I can work with empathy. Go ahead.
Okay.
What about diplomatic relations?
Since you weren't really trying to create or you weren't trying to
Right.
do any like diplomatic things, I'd probably say
Yeah,
no to that
Yeah,
one.
that makes sense.
I got 3 successes.
3 successes and 1 success. Okay. So yeah, Captain, she definitely is holding back, obviously. It's a pretty typical Romulan thing to to be reserved when around one's enemies, I guess is the best term.
Mm-hmm.
Relations with the Federation are still a little bit tenuous, even despite the war being what it was. Ambrose, you get a similar read on her, the both of you do, that she's clearly working the Romulan mojo.
Does the Federation have any specific policy regarding things like giving Romulans tours of your ship?
They're not officially allies. It's a non-aggression treaty at the moment. And the Romulans have been largely pulling out of Federation affairs in the last few months. But there's no they would be treated as if they were a not a hostile power, but not a friendly power necessarily. You could probably give them a tour, but you would want to stay away from anything sensitive like, your computer or your engines or your weapons.
Yeah, like the AI, I'm sure.
Yeah, you'd probably want to stay away from that stuff. But a basic tour, I mean, you certainly could give her that.
Okay, well, I'll consider that. Right now, I'm stalling.
Yeah, and that's. But yeah, whatever she was doing while typing, whatever she was typing was almost certainly everything you said, every way you moved, every eye flick, every what the Romulans record. So.
Okay.
What do you guys want to do next?
Well, I see a couple things. We can have vignettes of people going aboard at the station, since I'm sure we would let the staff wander around.
Mm-hmm.
We could also do a conference with the senior staff where we talk about what we want our first test to be.
Yeah.
What are people feeling like?
Does anybody want to go aboard station and hang out? This is your last chance to be aboard a Federation location.
Other than the Europa.
Other than the Europa for possibly up to 5 years. So
I think
it's going to stay aboard and work with Eva.
Okay.
I think Malini Silva's going to take that chance to go on board.
Okay, that's the first time we've seen Silva, right?
Indeed.
Look at that.
Savi will go aboard and send messages to her family while she has the opportunity, which we don't really need to do on screen. It's just a thing she'll do.
I've got the ones you guys did between sessions. I will have to. I will reply to some of those shortly. Obviously not during play, but you know. So let's talk. Let's do Eva real quick. You are in. Kaz is in the library area. You know, pretty much your office at these days. Library access portal. With Eva, and Eva has spent pretty much the last 2.5 months, whatever it has been, on the trip, working through logic puzzles and like brain teaser type things. And this has been in response to her Eva failing at puzzle solving earlier in a previous, you know, in the when you guys were on Bajor. You get the sense that there is, while Eva has never admitted to it, you get the distinct sense that there is probably some level of frustration coming from the computer at this point. As in almost every case, the problem solving, the logic puzzles and the like Rubik's cubes and things like that have been flawless, but every now and then one will miss, and Eva is unable to figure out why that is. So that has been going on for about 2 months now.
So Eva, have you seen no pattern at all in what you're missing? Does it seem completely random?
At this time, I do not believe that I have been able to notice any correlations between the failures that I'm experiencing. It is possible that I am simply malfunctioning, or perhaps even flawed.
Well, I don't think any malfunction you would have would be simple, and clearly something's not working the way it should, but let's not jump to conclusions here. And I wanted to stay on board, particularly because I was wondering if your syncs are affecting anything, either pro or con. If these errors are cropping up more often after you sync with another large facility or less often. Just thought it was something we should take a look at, because it's really your only external input that you're getting.
That is, well, other than the ship's sensors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's your own body, even as it were. This is contact with other computers.
It is an interesting speculation, Lieutenant. I have not noticed any additional issues after syncing with other stations. However, I've only so far synced with 3: Earth Space Dock, Deep Space Nine, and now Narendra Space Dock.
Well, the data set's getting a little larger, so I don't know if there's anything to this, but given that, as far as I understand, nothing like this cropped up before you were reinitialized when we left, it's something new. And if it's something new, maybe it's something self-generated or something internal, but you know, let's consider outside possibilities and just see if that matters.
Is it possible that the data from the computer of Deep Space Nine has corrupted my systems in some way?
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me in the least from that place.
Perhaps I shall purge the information that I acquired from the station.
Well, maybe we can move it into a physical backup, disconnect it, and have it available. I wouldn't want you to lose key data, but if we can sequester it or something for a while, that might be worth a try.
With your permission, Lieutenant, I will offload the information into the static core, the backup core. That is a separate system.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm going to run it past the XO and the captain to see if maybe we can get the core offline for a while completely, or at least on standby, once you made the transfer, but at least take the first step. Yeah, that's fine.
Excellent. It would no longer be in my systems once that is complete.
Yeah.
Please let me know.
And you me as well. I think that's a good line to pursue.
I have been wondering, Lieutenant. I have been observing crew behavior when they are in the lounge area. Simply observational.
Oh, anything fun?
Simply patterns of behavior. And I believe that I would like to implement one new type of behavior into my system to see if it works well.
What are you thinking about?
I would like to know how you feel, Lieutenant. How are you?
Oh, conversation or psychological profiling?
Is not one both?
The goals are somewhat different. And depending on what your primary goal is, we can focus in a little more closely.
I have observed that conversation and observation help a crew to better harmonize. I wish to better harmonize with my crew.
I think that's an excellent idea. Yeah, let's work on a conversational package. We don't have much experience with those. The EMH certainly doesn't have anything worth mentioning. There have long since been software packages, but those aren't under the level of sentient control you have. And I think from what I understand, Commander Data took a very long time to develop fluent conversations. But yeah, let's start working on that. I think that really it'll be a good project for you, and I think it will lead to smoother interactions with the crew. So let's see what we can do.
Excellent.
And I think I might inform the counseling staff as well. They're certainly the experts on conversational analysis, and maybe they could offer some insights or something useful for you.
I would be grateful for the opportunity to speak with one of the counselors.
I'll try and make that happen. I'm glad to hear this, Eva. It sounds like you're looking towards solutions rather than just focusing on this one little problem that we've got, and I think that's constructive.
I feel it would be best to use my resources as widely as possible.
That's an excellent idea. That's exactly what I've been hoping to hear. Wonderful. So we've got some work to do. We'll make it happen. We'll work together on this, of course. Anytime anything comes up, or if you want to practice conversation on me, I'd love to talk. So bring it on anytime. Well,
excellent.
Not when I'm sleeping, but anytime I'm awake. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that.
I have not yet taken the opportunity to observe anyone in their quarters. Perhaps I should investigate. I should do some observations in this area as well.
Let's keep it to the common spaces for now.
Very well.
Would you mind, John, if O'Connor was kind of just in there as well? I have a thought.
Okay, sure, absolutely.
So as you're wrapping up this conversation, O'Connor, who's been sitting at a table going through a data pad, raises her head up and kind of looks a little nervously. And you hear this small voice, Lieutenant.
Yeah, Sunson, what you got?
I'm terribly sorry for eavesdropping. I couldn't help but overhear. I wonder, and it feels ridiculous,
bring it up.
but I wonder.
Let's share ideas here. What do you got?
Could it be that Eva's mistakes in the problem solving were built in? Almost to add a human element to make her more relatable to the crew?
Oh. That wouldn't surprise me. It also might not surprise me if the folks at Daystrom didn't know about it. That sounds like kind of a Starfleet-y, we want to gimp our supercomputer kind of thing to do.
It doesn't make logical sense.
No, but it makes some kind of bureaucratic sense, though, doesn't it?
Maybe keep the crew from running too far into that uncanny valley territory.
Yeah. I'll see if we can, before we leave here, we can get a message back to the Daystrom Institute, see if they've got any thoughts on it, or if they can work on something from their end. But I think that's a marvelous lead.
She kind of blushes and looks pleased that you think it was a good idea, but also awkward that she's getting praise.
Aw.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anybody else got anything? Head back to the station then.
Kaz will write up a report on carefully replicated note paper, and have it ready for to drop it off in the captain's ready room or something like that before he's back.
Gotcha.
I think there is a conversation that Ambrose would have had with both Cass and Kostra, specifically about the AI. Probably something that happened on the journey.
Okay.
We could say that maybe the materials needed for whatever you were talking about were possible until we got to the starbase.
I think he's referring to protocol when it comes certain protocols when it comes to the AI.
Oh,
so
sure.
We could certainly have that conversation now, even though it may have happened long ago, just so that we're all on the same page.
Well, I'm thinking perhaps it would.
Maybe now they can talk about it off the ship.
Yeah, where the ship cannot hear for sure.
That's a good point. I could see Ambrose bringing that up.
Okay.
Yeah. So at some point,
you'll have to get Cass off the ship, but yes. Yeah. So, I suppose you could just order Cass to come to see you, come have lunch.
Yeah. I suppose we can do that.
Time is a fluid thing right now, since we're just kind of hanging out on the starbase. Right, we can do what we need to do.
Okay. Yeah. I'll hit my comm badge. Lieutenant Kostra, Lieutenant Shibernaba, could you meet me aboard station for that meeting we were talking about?
Fine.
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely, sir. And out. Yeah.
Okay. You guys meet up at one of the lounge areas aboard station. Nice big, one of the big quarter lounges. You guys have these aboard the Europa as well. So I'll go ahead and share the image so that you guys have an idea of what these are, and you can use them as the game goes on if you want to.
Sure.
As I love these things.
Yeah.
But you meet up there, and it is nice and quiet and not wholly infested with Klingons.
Okay.
If this is about the EPS conduits on deck 6, look, I don't know who made them, but I'm redoing that entire deck. It's awful.
How long is that going to take?
Since I'm doing it, I can get it done before we leave station for certain.
This is Isabeth, sorry?
No, this is Kostra.
Kostra, okay.
Yeah.
Kostra for reference. Okay. Yeah, I got my crew sheet pulled up. Okay. Well, if you think it's something that is necessary and something that you can handle before we're put in a situation, this is your area. You know how to keep the ship. Right. Just write up a report.
That wasn't really the reason you asked us here, though. You wouldn't have asked to Antenna girl.
She will kind of thwap towards him.
Hey, you can't say I'm not being accurate.
We'll do
Nor
pronunciation
sensitive.
drills over lunch.
Anyway, Cass, how
Sure.
well integrated is our ship's computer with the station now that we're synced together?
There are obviously levels of classified access that don't concern us or the ship. It's just an ops level, not really deep into the data.
Do we share internal sensors?
I believe so, sir.
That would probably require additional permissions, but it certainly can be done. It probably isn't done by default, though.
Okay.
What sort of logs does the computer keep on our comm badges when they are inactive, if any?
When they're inactive, I would have to dig in and see. I mean, there's all, as with any system, there's the obvious ongoing passive monitoring for emergencies and that sort of thing. Are you concerned that EVA might be able to turn them on and monitor passively by default?
Yes.
I don't think so. And that would probably, well, let me dig into that.
Starfleet, I know the communication systems pretty well, and I'd say that it's pretty unlikely that the computer would be able to listen out. And if the comm badges are off, Starfleet privacy protocols make it pretty clear: life signs only when off duty.
That would be my guess. I'm not a hardware person at all, so I didn't want to, make assumptions. But I would think that would take some real work to override.
It is still a software issue, though. It's theoretically the computer could override it if it tried hard enough, I suppose.
Is the ship's computer still bound by the same Starfleet protocols that it otherwise would be able to, or would have be bound to, now that it has some level of extra intelligence?
Oh, even more so.
Same privacy settings, same.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Commander, that concern is warranted. But I don't think any of us could even approach the level of paranoia that Starfleet has when it comes to machine sentience.
Right. That is my concern. We have an unknown entity not only aboard our ship, but as our ship.
Yeah, I agree with you that the situation merits concern. Just this isn't an issue of
We have a way to turn it off.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
We have several overrides.
Will the ship continue to function without?
Absolutely. There's a full conventional backup.
Now that's a trickier question. Short term, yes. Longer term,
well, we would be down a backup. Yeah.
We don't have the crew to manage the ship full time without that AI.
Yeah. At least not on standard rotations. Yeah, we'd be doing a lot of work.
The automation's driven through everything. If the AI wasn't if the AI did just stopped existing, it created all kinds of problems, ones that I couldn't even begin to list right now.
But on a short term?
On a short term, we'd be able to warp, shoot phasers, those kinds of things. But long-term operation is a whole nother.
Yeah, I mean, we would want to start heading back home, but we would be able to.
What about backups? How self-propagating is this software?
Could it contaminate the backup core? I don't think so. Because one of the big concerns in having it was that it would be basically a fresh, right out of the box, conventional ship operating system. So I would think we would have to physically rig something that would enable her to.
You would note too that since it runs largely on a positronic system, the ship basically works as a positronic network. It probably couldn't. It could dump itself into the core, but it probably would lose all personality and sentience, or near sentience.
Okay. I would like both of you to keep studious reports, both from an engineering standpoint and from well, Cass, from what I understand, you have quite a rapport with the computer.
I think it's one of the key parts of my job, sir. And it's fun and interesting, and it's probably a good safety precaution too. So yeah, that's where I've been putting most of my energy.
I would like each of you to keep regular reports on any activities involving the ship's AI on paper.
Absolutely, sir. The captain asked me to do that on day one.
Very good.
I've read you some reports, but frankly, I'm more of a hardware guy.
Oh, you can build them a nice report.
All right. I'll build a birdhouse to report. I don't know what. Look, my job is the entrance. I'm not going to mess with that AI. That's not my job.
Is not the whole ship's functioning your job as chief engineer?
It is, but and I keep the automation going. That's the standard design for this ship. That's what I keep going. If you want anything more, let me know. But I'm not a computers guy. I'm just not. I handle the heavy machinery, the engines, the weapon systems, and yeah, I do handle the automation interfaces. But I don't mess with any AIs. It's not my sphere. That's not my sphere of expertise.
That's fine. Yes, just make sure everything keeps working appropriately and just keep an eye out for any weird bugs. A lot of this will have to be cross-referenced between you two. I want you to work closely together.
Oh, if you want a list of weird bugs, I got a list of weird bugs the length of my arm. I can send that to you.
I'm sure.
It's not AI related. It's just a touchy ship.
Yeah, I can keep talking to Napkin Guy, and she'll like slap towards his head again.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that'll do it.
Okay. Captain, were you headed off to find the general?
Yeah. Trying to think. I feel like we should bring somebody else on the scene.
To talk to the general, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just mix things up a little.
Sure.
Does anybody think their character would be particularly interesting? Like, do any of your characters have any expertise with Klingons or anything like that?
Negative.
Or any fascination
around who could use seasoning, though.
I mean, I think the closest I would have is Dasavi has a lot of background in diplomacy, but that's all I got.
I think he'd bring Dasavi. Having a empath would certainly be useful.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Plus, he trusts her, so.
Okay. And that's. So you guys head off to meet with the general. He is there is what is lovingly, I will say, referred to as the Klingon quarter. Jack, your camera dropped out.
Yeah, it's frozen. I'm working on it.
Gotcha. I saw it look like Evelyn's earlier, but you head to what is lovingly referred to as the Klingon Quarter. This part of the station is dimmer lit. It's a hotter temperature. There's a smell that you will not get out of your hair later. There is a lot of Klingon singing, and you can hear a lot going on. Most Starfleet personnel do not really come down this far, but as you ask through, various Klingons point you in the right direction of where you want to go, and give you a little side eye here or there, and no one pulls out a tying on you or anything, but it's one of those places where this is clearly the seedy part of a Starfleet station, which is not something you'd think you'd ever find. When you finally do get to where the general is, you find him sitting. There is a targ bound to a bit of the wall, and he is not slumped over, but definitely hunched in a way that is atypical for a Klingon general. And he is kind of poking at his less than stellar, not real movie gah.
Boy, that gach looks bad.
He looks up and it is unfortunate. I was hoping to have some more freshness. Being on this station is intolerable sometimes.
Well, you seem to not care. Yeah, it's a shame that you care for your post so little.
He looks at you, and you see his gaze harden just a little bit. And
Dasami also sort of looks at you with this expression in her eyes, like, what the hell is wrong with you?
He looks at you and says, "Do you say I do not take my post, my duty seriously?"
I'm saying that you're a general with the Klingon Defense Forces on the very frontier of the you're a Klingon in the Klingon Defense Forces on the very frontier of the Empire's reaches, and you're complaining about bad gach.
He stands up slowly and kind of pushes the plate back, away from him, and you can hear the chair sliding eerily back as he stands.
Captain, do remember there is an old Terran saying that an army marches on its stomach.
I don't see anybody marching here. Do you?
Not in a literal sense, but we haven't marched in aeons.
The general slaps the bowl aside and who are you to besmirch me, Trill? As he looks you up and down.
I'm Captain Jorad Hage. Perhaps you've heard of me in another life. I was Mycella Hage. I won the Battle of the Corsican Rift.
Kind of squints at you and kind of like leans in a little bit. Well then. That is a name I have heard. I have heard the name Hage as well. You are the captain of the robot.
I would. I don't know if robot would be the correct terminology, but I believe you have the right person.
Well then, I guess to be diplomatic, I should welcome you aboard Narendra Station.
I feel welcomed already. Tell me, what are your forces doing to quell this distant frontier? I already heard from the Admiral, but I want to hear it from you as well.
I protect this station. He begins walking over, out of his chair and over towards the replicator. I protect this station and the Federation border. There are many, how your people call it, strange and wondrous things out here that want to kill all of you.
So what have you done to prevent those things from killing us?
My ships scour the system for hostiles,
And
whilst your people are on scientific exploration. The Klingon Defense Force stands ready.
A readiness that is appreciated.
From what I hear, there's Klingons that aren't content to sit and wait for something to happen.
He looks back at you again with an upraised eyebrow and shakes his head and mumbles something you don't really catch under his breath, but blood wine to the replicator. He takes it out and drinks it and kind of shakes his head at that as well and turns back to you. My forces roam the patrolled space, or patrol the explored space to ensure that our dealings do not go untended.
And what of those who have already dealt with the Klingons? I hear the Katang, as well as several other ships, have vanished. Have you avenged them?
How do you avenge someone against the space itself?
I'd be happy to show you.
I will be watching then. I suspect you have been told that there are Klingon pirates in the area, and that is what you are nibbling at, Starfleet.
If you want me to stop nibbling, then I'll tell you this directly. If my ship, the robot, if any of us, including the robot, get attacked by Klingon pirates, I am holding you personally responsible for not keeping your people in line.
Yeah. He throws his blood wine cup against the wall and then swears at you in Klingon. You would hold me responsible for pirates. Do I hold you responsible for anomalies?
There's a difference. One does not earn the respect of anomalies. One does gain or lose respect of their warriors.
He kind of uprights himself and cocks his head. You are suggesting that I have lost the respect of my warriors.
I'm simply observing the current situation here in the sector.
He kind of looks wistfully to the side. Well, as wistfully as Klingons can look. You know, there was a time before Martok when the Empire looked strong. He looks back at you. There are those who think that the Federation is to blame for the weakness in the Klingon Empire.
Are you sure it's not just the bad Gok?
I believe that one is the other. If you find these Klingons, you or your robot, my men will deal with them. You will not have to worry about getting your uniform dirty.
I think you and I both I think perhaps it'd be better if I kept the glory to ourselves. The Europa is a fine ship. I'm sure we could deal with whatever Klingon pirates are there. I would like to use reverse psychology on him.
Sure.
Can I do a roll on this to see if I succeed?
Savvy is internally face palming. Like, she is maintaining proper, diplomatic facial expressions, but inside.
Presence in medicine.
Medicine.
That's what all the isn't that what
psychology? Yeah.
That's what psychology would, or what?
Yeah, I suppose.
Psychology. I'm trying to convince him. This is reverse psychology.
Sure.
Yeah.
I could also go with it. Since you're trying to basically use the Klingon honor and whatnot against him. What do you think? Insight command? Presence command, I mean? Presence command? Yeah, I'll take it.
I think that would make more sense because it's more of a persuasion rule.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha.
Would empathy, composure, or negotiation apply?
Empathy, composure, or negotiation.
Politics might.
Yeah, I'll let you. One of those works. I don't know which one, but one of those works.
One of them will work. Okay.
I don't know. Having all three of them means one of those works.
Hold on. I want to use a momentum.
Sure.
Can I use a momentum? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, it's still one.
Did you roll another one? I didn't see it roll.
Yeah, did it not? I just rolled again. The first one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's all right.
I don't know.
There you go. Now it rolled.
All right. There we go.
And a 6. So that's 2 successes, I assume?
Yep.
He looks at you and I assume your outcome is to get him to try to
find the Klingons himself and keep them in line.
Right. Gotcha. I do not believe that your worm and your robot will be very effective in finding Klingon warriors who wish to stay hidden from you. I suppose it is up to the Klingon Empire to once again ferret out the enemies of the Federation. We win your Dominion War for you. We can win this one as well.
I would like to see that.
That's a good thing Ambrose is in the room. There's a look from Ambrose.
Ambrose just got a little heartburn wherever he is.
I tell you what, Captain. If you or your robot find the Klingons before I do, I will give you 2 barrels of blood wine. And if I find them before you,
I will get you the freshest gawk in the quadrant.
2 barrels of it.
I will manage it, and I will relish drinking that blood wine with all the vigor that you can imagine.
He kind of smiles and sits back down, reaches for where his plate was, swears in Klingon, and it's a good place to stop.
I would like to talk with Devasi after we just step out of the room.
Sure.
That went well.
You were lucky.
Klingons, he's a Klingon. They don't work well with flowery words and diplomacy. You've got to...
They also don't work well when you insult their honor.
I insulted no one's honor.
You
did not come up once.
Did.
I simply taunted him into doing the right thing. It's a classic Klingon negotiation tactic.
You say so.
Trust me. He'll no matter what happens, we've won ourselves a friend today.
We shall see. I still say you were seconds away from wearing that gawk, possibly on your spleen.
The two are not mutually exclusive, I will point out.
That is fair.
That seems like a good place to wrap up the scene.
Anybody else have anything they want to do?
I'd still like to do Malini Silva.
Sure.
So I think she's going to try to get Jissa to come on the station with her. Does that sound good to you, Jack?
Sure. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. So she's going to come over to you in the shuttle bay, and she's going to be like, "Hey, I'm hitting the station. You want to come?"
Yeah, we'll see what we can get up to.
Perfect.
I'm flying.
Well, it's.
Are we inside already?
I think we can just teleport over there. If
Suppose.
So maybe we cut to a little bit when they're aboard station. And
yeah,
let me tell you, have you ever had Cardassian prison rations? Now that is the worst food ever created. It's you could tell that they created it specifically to punish their prisoners more.
It's quite an insight you have.
What can I say? What about Andorian cuisine? What's that like? I've never had.
Oh, it's been a long time.
Well, I'm sure we can get something here on the station. What would you recommend?
Put me on the spot here.
Yeah, she'll wave over to the waiter. Hey, just bring us an Andorian dish, whatever you've got that you do best.
They kind of nod, and we'll be back in a few minutes with something. I forgot to put my most important document, the one that tells me who everybody is.
So how's the Arrow Wing fly, Jessa? I'm curious. Haven't gotten the chance to get in that seat yet.
No, I haven't really been able to push her to her limit. I did a lap around space dock while we were still orbiting Earth, but since then I've just been out in the Danubes. Captain's a little protective.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it is a diplomatic boat. The Danube's good enough for anything I want to do with it.
Well, if you're perfectly happy with the Danubes, then why don't you let me take over the Arrow Wing?
Well, I didn't say that now, did I?
Well, can't blame a girl for trying, can you?
We could switch off, see who gets more out of her.
I like that. There was this program at the training academy that I really enjoyed. It was a racing sim. We could do it in the holodeck if you're up for it. See who's the better pilot. It's not the same thing as being in a real cockpit, but somehow I don't think we could talk that hard ass into letting us take the runabouts out for a joyride.
Which one? There's a lot of them.
Orani, have you spoken with him yet? His security drills were insane.
Too much for you?
No, not too much, just too much in general. They were. If we followed every single protocol listed in those security, we would be spending. We would if we followed every single search protocol that he outlined, it would take us a day to get through one corridor of the ship.
I think you need to work on your efficiency there.
I mean, I think the
that's the point.
XO.
Or we could see how many more styles of prison rations you like.
You know, I think I'm fine staying out of prison for now. You know. Anyway, which of the commanding officers do you have a problem with? There's always one. Be honest with me.
Try not to get too involved.
I hear you had a run-in with the doctor.
I think Cass had a run-in with the doctor. And I was able to slip under that radar.
Well, then.
Which is probably for the better.
Probably.
Hey, somebody's got to make the tough calls.
I suppose so. Hey, let's promise each other something. Let's look out for each other on this thing. You know what I mean? Being shuttle pilots isn't exactly the most glamorous position in Starfleet.
Now that we're back to shuttle pilots. Sure.
Excellent. I tell you, I miss being able to. I miss the camaraderie of the Maquis. There, everybody would jump on a grenade to save you, just because you were a Maquis. That's all it took. I don't know if that's true of Starfleet.
Maybe not everyone in Starfleet.
Certainly not Ambrose.
I'd watch what you say about it.
Why, are you going to tell him?
I don't think you're ready for that.
Okay. So I think the food arrives shortly after, and she says, "This is actually fantastic."
It's a decent replication. We're quite far from Andoria.
Well, you know, I'll take what I can get. Maybe we can make sure that this is on the replicator at the ship. Wouldn't mind trying this again.
Program it in. Maybe turn it down a few degrees. It's always warmer than it should be.
You eat this cold?
It's Andoria. We eat most things cold.
Well, I suppose that makes sense. I think that's about all I had for this scene, unless you had something.
Okay. Trying to maybe I can do it here. Okay. My mouse is giving me all the trouble in the world today. Killing me. Try one more time here. I mean, outside anything else they want to do real quick, or no?
We need to have that conference scene where we talk about what we're going to do next.
Right.
But other than that, I can't think of anything. Wouldn't mind. We talked a little during session 0 about getting some kind of card game going on the ship.
Yeah.
We never quite. Do we want to say that happened in the preceding month, 2 months?
Yeah, I think 2 months with pretty much nothing to do along the way would be a natural time for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Do we want to do a scene with that, or do we want to wait on that?
I think we can wait on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, unless we have a scene goal. Yeah, I think we can wait.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Sure. All right. I got what I was after. Theoretically, this mouse is killing me. So Cass, while you're on station, as you're heading back after Ambrose's conversation with you, you were approached by this lady here. Her name, you'd probably recognize her from some of your studies, of the station and whatnot. She's Dr. Helena Taliaferro. She's the chief scientist, civilian scientist on Narendra Station. Lieutenant, could you please wait?
Oh, of course.
I was glad to catch up with you, Lieutenant. I'm Dr. Taliaferro. I am extremely excited by the opportunity to see what your crew is going to be bringing back from the research-wise, of course, from the Expanse. Do you have much experience with anthropology or cultural exchange? Is that one of your specialties?
It is. I did an accelerated program in First Contact at the Academy, and I've got close to 10 years experience now. And that was really my focus as a science officer coming up.
Excellent. I have a theory, a hypothesis, and I'm interested to see if there's any corroborating information. There have been a number of artifacts found in the region, in several of the regions throughout the Expanse so far, and I'm wondering, I'll of course send you the information that I have, but I'm trying to decide if there's any kind of correlation. I suspect that some of it is possibly Iconian, although I'm no expert on Iconian culture or artifacts, but some of them that I have found do not fit quite neatly into this theory, but they're similar in construction and build, and they have similar markings. I will provide you with the images and scans. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, if you find any of these things that match in this description, I would very much like to have them sent back, or at least the information and recordings of them sent back as soon as possible. There is something, I feel it, there's something tying this region together that is unseen, and I'm very curious to see what it is.
Unseen, Doctor? What do you mean?
I don't have any way to it's just a theory, obviously, but these anomalies and the loss of the Bellerophon and the various artifacts that we have discovered that I believe are Iconian in nature. I think they tie together somehow. I think that if we can solve the mystery of these artifacts, we can discover what has happened to create these rifts and these disappearances and anomalies that we are seeing in this region. Again, it's only a theory, but there's too many coincidences with these artifacts that, for example, and she pulls out a pad real fast, on Calistero 4, we found this obelisk, and it emitted a radiation that was similar to a radiation that we discovered on a planet, Neros, that was nearly at warp. It would have been weeks away. there's no evidence of warp civilizations since, well, even the Iconians we don't believe had warp, but there's too many of these similarities throughout the region, and I suspect that this energy that they're emitting and that these symbols, and again, you'll have to review the work, but I believe there is a correlation, and what last information we got from the Bellerophon before it went missing, it seems as though the energy that the Bellerophon was seeing, and the Venture was emitting, it seems similar. Do you understand? Am I making myself understood?
Doctor, I've got to say no. I'll obviously take this incredibly seriously and report it to the captain as well and go over the material you provided, but I'm not seeing so far the links between ancient artifacts and spatial rifts, and I can kind of hear my advisor back in the academy saying, Cadet, that is not a theory, that is a wild ass guess. But I'm sure you've got the material to back that up, and I'll absolutely check it out.
Yes, it'll take you some time to go through, I suspect, but look over what I have found, and if you can find any additional, a theory may be a strong word. You're correct. Postulation. If you can find more information, I do not have the opportunity to leave Narendra Station at the moment, and the amount of information the Klingons bring back is woefully useless. I look forward to seeing what the Europa can find.
Oh, absolutely, Doctor. We'll send you on reports right away, and I'll definitely be working with your material. Absolutely.
Good. Excellent. Thank you. And she kind of turns and heads down the hallway.
And Cass will walk off making the universal gesture for, wow, that was Binky Bonkers.
All right. Do you want to head to the conference room then?
Sounds good.
All right. Whoops. That's the botanical garden. That is the wrong place.
Well, that's a nice
change of
place
pace
for meeting. Yeah.
Holodeck.
Right.
I mean, if we have a holodeck, why are we even having conference rooms?
Exactly.
Just everything is done in holodecks.
What was it? Discovery mentioned a ship that was just all holodecks.
Yeah.
Oops, all holodecks.
Oops,
Oops, holodecks. Only crunch berries. All right, so there's your conference room. I'm not going to put everybody in there because everybody knows who's in there.
Right.
Whoever wants to be in there is in there. But the senior crew is assembled, and the captain has some things to tell all of you, I assume.
Yes. So I spoke with the admiral. She laid out a couple things that warranted our attention. Just to make sure I have them all straight. One of them. Let me know if I'm missing anything, Jeff. Some ships have gone missing, including the Bellerophon and several Klingon ships. This place is a regular Bermuda Triangle, so it's worth us trying to find out where they may have gone, or what destroyed them, so we can keep further tragedies from happening in the future. We also there was a pre-warp civilization that seems to be emitting mysterious subspace signals. Bears, it is certainly, it bears it's worth a look, although we want to be surreptitious, of course, so as to not violate any prime directive. We also got word of some rogue Klingon warriors that have been spotted in the region. Hopefully the Klingons can keep their own, but if not, we'll deal with it for them. Well, we'll talk about that. I think that I think it's best we work with the Klingons on this in order to make sure that they maintain some semblance of respect for the general in charge. There's also some strange readings coming out of the Nolist sector. Some probes have gone missing, and the information has been garbled. That's certainly worth a look. I'm sure that the Europa sensors would be able to pick something up. Oh, there's also a megastructure that is listed on the Holryun system. We know nothing about it, but that's something we can look at. And, I believe it's orbiting a black hole, so that's definitely worth taking a look to see who may have built it and why. You didn't mention, Jeff, the thing you sent me has this thing about the Romulans. Do you want me to say that one?
Yeah, that was supposed to give you that information with the general, and I totally forgot. That's fine.
No worries. I mean, we can just say it happened off screen.
Yeah, it's fine.
So since the Dominion War, the Romulans have mostly retreated to their borders. However, there's rumors of a new threat to their distant front. Subcommander To Shiri is aboard the station, wants to take a look at our ship, and she might have more information about the Romulan activities in the area. So that's something we should look at as well. That's everything.
Okay, Captain. That alien megastructure thing sounds incredibly cool, but maybe we don't start with that. What I was thinking was, and I've got to tell you about, all right. The observation of pre-warp civilization might be a nice little shakedown mission. Put our sensors to use, get my science staff up and running and processing information. We could use our civilian specialist on that one. Might be just a nice, straightforward kind of thing to start with to get everybody warmed up and working together. But I had this really weird conversation with the chief scientist of the station. And it was all like this conspiracy stuff about ancient artifacts and the Iconians and missing ships. And I haven't had a chance to look at her stuff, but it looks kind of crazy pants. But I'll take it seriously. But I want to make sure you knew right away that I'm not dismissing this. But
you said this person you spoke with spoke directly about missing ships.
She thinks there's some sort of link between the missing ships, the spatial anomalies, artifacts that maybe or maybe aren't Iconian that they've been discovering, and wanted us to keep an eye out in particular for these kinds of artifacts.
Well, I'll admit that the dealing with the missing ships is my first idea, since it might be difficult for us to. It might prove to be a danger to us. But I do think there is something to be said for a confidence building task to get the crew working on the same page before we tackle something a bit more dangerous.
Seems like a good idea, sir.
Problem with the missing ships is probably a longer term problem, something we'll be working on while we investigate other issues.
Unless there's more direct leads. To what the scientists are talking about, maybe as we come across artifacts and ruins and whatever, we'll be putting some pieces of the puzzle together if there's any pieces there, but there might be.
Yes, can you talk to this person and get her to share whatever information she has with you?
Oh, she was more than eager to dump everything on me. I'll go through it. I'll triage what's there, and if there's anything that needs to be brought to the commander's attention, I'll get it to you right away.
Excellent. Does anybody else have any? So it sounds like we're leaning towards this pre-warp civilization and investigating this pre-warp civilization. Does anybody have any other suggestions?
I think it's I think while a pre-warp civilization could be interesting, I wonder if there's much to be gained in making that our first priority. I think investigating strange signals and lost probes may lead us more towards greater anomaly or missing ship problems, and is an active disruption to our presence here. That planet's presumably not going anywhere.
The Admiral did seem to think that the missing probes and the disappearing ships were two completely different issues. Probably none of the ships missing were investigating the Halaroon system, or not the Halaroon, the Nolist sector specifically. So I think they might be two different issues.
It could be.
And if I was a bunch of pirates looking for a score, a technologically advanced civilization on the verge of warp might be someplace I'd want to hit.
The subspace, the fact that they've got some kind of tripping through subspace has gotten me curious. And if there is other players involved, I'd like to know who is messing around in our backyard before we get in too deep. And I think that might be a good opportunity to find out.
The threat the Romulans are seeing, are they close enough to also be a threat to us, or are they just concerned and requesting Starfleet assistance?
That's something we should definitely ask for Toshot. They're not asking anything of us. This is entirely
Romulans.
Yeah, this is entirely us looking into it. So we'd have to get whatever information we can from them.
I think regardless of what we choose to tackle first, Captain, we should get clarification on whatever this new threat is, because we don't want to be blindsided in the middle of an investigative mission by combat.
Well, Toshari did say that she wanted a tour of the ship, so we can offer her that before she leaves and get that information from her then, or before we leave.
We would want to make that a very minimal tour.
Agreed.
No
sensitive areas, but I suppose getting a good look at our hallways isn't going to do much harm.
I suppose I would classify most of this ship as sensitive. But if she wants to see the hallways, she's welcome to walk around with a full security contingent.
I think you've just volunteered to be the tour guide.
I will volunteer to accompany you to Commander. I can perhaps get a better idea of her intentions.
Perfect.
You think that's prudent?
Excellent. Well, then we'll do that before we leave. But real quick, I do want to speak out of character, regardless of what we're talking about in characters. Everybody cool with our first thing being the pre-warp civilization?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay. Because I might be playing the captain in the game, but I'm not the captain of the group. So, all right. So, is there anything else we want to talk about in that scene? No? Okay. Well, then why don't we cut to the Romulan thing?
I will have an image of her at some point in the future. I don't have it today.
No worries.
So I assume you're going to have her beam on board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She beams on board, and as I said, as I described her earlier, she's a shorter woman with a slender, athletic build and the short, cropped, typical Romulan. It is the hyper peak, and she doesn't have the shoulder pads. That's not her current uniform, but she's definitely wearing the sub commander insignia, rank insignia.
Oh, please tell me the half scarves and come back into fashion in the Romulan Empire.
Oh, I loved those things. Oh yeah.
Could you throw her name in one of our many chats?
Yes, I can.
Here, is it okay if I share? Why don't you share the thing you shared with me, Jeff, in the chat?
Yeah, I will. At the moment, my mouse is giving me all the trouble in the world, so I'm having a hard time with that.
I got it. I'll put it in.
Actually, would anybody mind if we take 5 right here?
Yeah.
Sure, we can do
Yeah,
that.
That's a
actually,
good
that'd be a good
time.
idea.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and do.
Okay. Do that.
All right, we're back for a short time, but we're back. So you were having the sub-commander, Toshiri, who I will now share with all of you since I found a picture while we were on break.
Yay.
I will theoretically share this with you if my mouse stops being my mouse. Or starts being my mouse, I guess. So there we go. That's pretty much exactly what I was envisioning. So that'll work. Also, I don't mind that version of the uniform that much.
No,
Yeah, it's all right.
So, anyway, she beams aboard. Commander Ambrose, it is once again good to see you. And who is this doctor?
Dr. Onayat. I am the Chief Medical Officer of the Europa.
Well, it's good to meet you as well, Dr. Onayat. Please, I look forward to seeing more of the ship. I'm looking forward to this quite a bit, Commander.
Well, let's hope we don't disappoint. I'm sure you understand that this is a fairly new ship. So we'll see what we can show.
I expect there is a great deal that you will not be able to under our current political circumstances.
Of course, should those political circumstances evolve mutually, well, we've worked together well in the past.
She just kind of smiles. Lead the way.
As we're going, I want to try and get a read on her and her thoughts and motivations.
Sure. I will let you make a roll once we get going a little bit, but the roll will be whatever normally the Betazoid roll is. I think last time we determined it was Insight and Medicine.
I think so.
The difficulty, however, will be 4.
Nope.
I'm going to spend 1 momentum to make, or one threat to make it 4, because it should be higher. It should be 3 anyways. Yeah. And then I'm going to, because of who she is, I'm going to spend 2 more and increase the complication range to what, 18, 19, 20, right?
Okay.
Yes. So
18 up.
18 and up. So you can go ahead and make the roll now, and we'll get into it. So where are you taking her first, Ambrose? Just going around the halls and the lunchroom and stuff.
Yeah, I was pulling up trying to find our list of all our various what's in the ship.
Sure.
But yeah, assuming she beamed on into one of our transporter pads.
No, I didn't add the deck layout on that that sheet. I'll add that deck layout on that sheet later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where would I take her? I mean, I think the first place we would go, as is fairly typical, we would go to. Well, it's not called 10 forward on this ship.
Nope.
What did we determine where that was?
I think it's on deck 7. There's a 7. There's a forward and an aft lounge.
Yeah, we'd be going to one of the major lounges.
There we go.
And on the way, I will be sharing all the standard, well-known information of usual Luna class ships.
Right. She's taking, passive note of everything and mostly just listening to you. She doesn't have a data pad or anything. She's not typing literally everything you say down. But you get the distinct impression from watching her eyes that she is writing every single thing down, as you would expect her to do. When you arrive at the crew lounge, it's fairly quiet. The bartender, whose name escapes me at the moment,
Teketh.
Teketh, yes.
Mr. Keth would be there, wiping down the bar and whatnot. The room is otherwise fairly empty. There's a couple of people eating at one of the tables, and one of the two side hollow rooms is occupied, but obviously the door is closed, so you don't know who's in there. It just has the occupado sign on. She looks around and it's quite impressive, Mr. Ambrose. I did not realize that Starfleet was using hollow technology in their forward lounges.
We're experimenting with more varied use of that technology. It can be quite useful. In fact, we have another room over this way if you would care to join me, and we'll go over there. I found we do have a number of very useful diplomatic suites, but a place like this can help people feel quite at home. And I will bring up a replica of a normal, like, Romulan conference center.
Sure.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I would like Teketh to make a composure roll.
Sure.
When he sees her come in. I know it'll be controlling something. I just don't know the something.
Probably command.
Okay. So that'll be a 12.
Yeah, probably command.
Oh, good.
You were commanding yourself to be.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 3 successes. So he looks up, nods at the 3 that come in, and goes about his business.
Okay. Did you make the roll for? Go ahead and make the roll now
Not yet.
For the docked.
That was not as good of a roll.
Not a good roll.
But at least there were no complications.
Right. Double complications. All right. So what you get is some scattered surface thoughts. You know, the humdrum of I'm listening, okay, I'm listening. But you hit what you feel as a distinct barrier. This Romulan obviously has training against telekinetic activity, which means she probably has some telepathic ability herself. However, when you enter into the room, and Teketh makes the roll as well as and you're scanning the Romulan. You're not sure where it's coming from directly, but there's definitely an increased tension in the room that dissipates fairly quickly as Ambrose leads everyone into the small hollow room on the side there. Yes, Commander. Your replication is quite adequate. I am impressed by your computer's understanding of Romulan architecture.
Well, we try to be accommodating to our guests and allies.
And which are we today?
I don't think there needs to be a difference at this very moment.
Well said. I'm told you have excellent arboretums aboard. May I see those?
Of course, quite a stroll.
Tell me, Commander, is this your first posting aboard a Luna class?
This particular class ship, yes.
What would
Though
make... Go ahead.
I have served on many different vessels before.
Your record is not unknown to the Romulans.
That I can only view as an honor.
There was a great deal of, let's simply say that the war took its toll on everyone.
Something we're all glad to be rid of.
Of course. Tell me what you think of your captain. He is also not unknown to the Romulans, and I'm curious, as I will be observing the Narendra Station and, by proxy, the Europa's activities. What sort of man do you think he is, and what sort of thing would we be able to expect observing over the next few months and years?
Well, Sub-Commander, as I'm sure you're well aware, Starfleet only promotes its most excellent people to the captain's chair. Gerard Hage fits that. You will find he's a consummate Starfleet officer.
Excellent. I've seen a number of Starfleet captains enter into the Expanse. I find it to be an enlightening experience to see how Starfleet handles things. It is quite different from the way the Romulan Star Empire does most things, yes.
Well, difference can only bring us together.
Possibly. I believe that human history does not necessarily bear that out, and Romulan history is not that dissimilar. What do you think, Doctor? What is your interpretation of your fine captain?
I have had the pleasure of serving with Captain Hage for quite some time. This is our second posting together. I think he is quite level-headed and does a fine job of trying to see things from all sides. His many lifetimes is definitely a boon in that arena.
Well, he has certainly made a distinct impression with General Kargan. Playing both sides, I suppose.
How do you mean?
The general left the lair after their meeting in something of a rarely seen uproar. He was quite motivated.
Oh, good. He seemed to be in a bit of a slump when we met him in the lounge on the station.
It is a difficult place for a warrior. When the Klingons left the Khitomer Accords, this station existed, and he had been assigned here previously. He had looked forward, I think, to conquering this station. Well, not this station, this is the ship, but the station. I think he is a little bit put out that things went back to normal.
I find most Klingons are generally put out when they don't have something to conquer.
Well, perhaps the Europa will find something for the good general to conquer.
One can hope.
Rumor has it there is, well, quite a lot out there in the Expanse. And I must say, you find yourself a fair ways from your homeland. How has your trek through unknown space fared?
This Expanse is slightly less unknown to the Star Empire. Not significantly, but I have found it quite fascinating to observe this region. The unknown things I think that you will find, at least the unknown things that we have found that have found their way into Romulan space, shall prove an interesting challenge, I think.
I imagine so. I hear you are potentially facing another enemy at your borders.
You have excellent ears, Doctor. She doesn't say anything. She just kind of looks at you.
So Abby just kind of like gives her a half smile and nods.
I find it interesting, your choice of words, entering within your Romulan borders. They're usually so well maintained.
We have been stretched a little thin, what with the end, with the conflict of the Dominion, with the Dominion.
Of course. a conflict that we both flourished under together. Perhaps a similar common enemy may facilitate increased allegiances. I'm sure the Federation would be glad to help maintain the sovereignty of your borders.
I expect the Federation would be eager to assist us. Perhaps that day will come. For now, we simply need to reconsolidate our own dealings. Besides, the Federation has so much else it has to deal with. This Expanse is a great deal of exactly what Starfleet has always said they sought. The unknown. We should all be so lucky as to be graced with the things that we are most suited for.
Well, it is something I believe everyone on this ship looks forward to.
Good. As do I. I will offer one small bit of advice. The farther you go towards the depths of the Expanse near the Romulan border, there are regional powers that the Federation has not yet encountered. Be wary of them. When the Star Empire feels it is appropriate to provide you with more information, I certainly hope they will allow me to do so.
For the moment, the warning you can give is appreciated.
I would like to give more, but you understand.
Indeed.
I have a great deal of respect for what the Federation did during the Dominion War, and I have a great deal of respect for the people who sacrificed so much. I look forward to seeing your captain perform here. Not as much as I look forward to a more in-depth tour of your ship at some point in the future. And she smiles. But I believe we both have what we came for.
Well, certainly don't be a stranger. We are, at the very least, neighbors now.
She kind of nods, and you guys start heading back towards, or completing what little more of the tour there would be, and then heading back to the transporter room where she will leave.
Yeah, so after that whole, I think we both got what we came for. Ambrose would also like to try a little empathic link.
Sure.
Insight command again?
Yep, difficulty is still 3, and I will spend this to make it 4, because I did for her, and I'll do 2 more, because I've got them, to make the complication range 18 and up.
Okay, that's a complication range of 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 18, 19, 20.
Right. Okay. Have I been diplomatic enough to use that as a focus?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So you're basically trying to get a read on how she, the way she's reacting, right?
Right. Really choosing my words to try to get her thinking in different directions.
Right.
Okay. Let's see, 4. I'm gonna throw a momentum at this if everyone's okay with that. Okay. Wow. All right. Sure.
All right.
Well,
Sure.
then.
We're doing that again.
The dice are not with us today.
It's always a good time to end a session on a really crappy roll.
Right.
When you reach out a little bit with that, you feel that same block as I described for Onette. You're definitely getting a little bit of the surface thoughts, and then bam, you hit a solid wall of mental barrier, and her look changes only slightly, only just like a half a degree towards surprise, and then just cold. She just kind of goes that typical you don't want this Romulan cold. And she looks at Ambrose, and I'd best be going, Commander.
Of course, I wouldn't want to keep you, though. We should do this again sometime. It's been a learning experience for both of us.
She kind of gets a little half smile. Perhaps not this exactly. And then she starts walking. All right. She gets back on the transporter pad, beams away, and I think we can call it there for now, unless anybody has anything else they really want to do.
That's an awesome beat to end on.
Yeah.
I've got notes to take now. I was not expecting that. All right. Let's do some wrap up here. Click, mouse, click. What moment stands out most to you this evening?
That's an easy one. The captain and the general. It was a character turn for the captain. It was surprising. It was effective. And it really gave me, as an audience member, a sense of, yeah, this is a Trill who's been around.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad to have seen that, because Ambrose was going to say something after the whole "we should bring them a fruit basket" quote. And I kind of expected to be part of that meeting instead of Devasi, but I was fine not being there, and I really liked that Hage did exactly as Ambrose would have suggested.
Excellent. Anybody else have one? Who best in? Oh, go ahead.
I really liked the conversation with the Romulan there at the end. I liked two telepaths, two empaths, both
being terrible at their jobs.
Yeah.
Getting nowhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was intriguing. I don't know what's going on there, and I was just like fascinated.
Yeah, you got the stereotypical Romulan cold wall.
Yeah, the Romulans are my favorite. I love the Romulans. Who best embodied their character this evening? I thought the captain did an excellent job.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have a nom, or that's pretty much everybody?
I kind of feel like Oniat did. I'm glad the doctor is not just being a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did a lot of cool things this session, and I'm very happy.
I felt like I really didn't do a lot this session, so I appreciate the feedback.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, this session flew by.
I really did.
I mean, I feel like we definitely did stuff. I don't know. I don't feel like I really contributed, but I was fairly heavy in the previous episode, so I'm fine just chilling.
I also thought for the first time we saw Silva on screen that she was super vivid.
I loved that. That whole encounter where she was trying really hard to get Jisa to gossip, and Jisa's like, bam.
I'm staying out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most you're going to get from that is don't talk shit about Ambrose.
Yep.
I figured somebody had to talk shit about Ambrose, because whoever puts the people through the drills always gets shit on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I do have a conversation for Dasavi and Ambrose to have later that I'm looking forward to about your drills.
Yeah, you're running them too. Everyone on the ship.
What role-playing moment best exemplified someone else's character to you? I think we had covered the Ambrose, or the captain and the Klingon. I think that was a pretty good one. Anybody else have anything?
I really liked Cass and Eva again.
Yes.
And both of those scenes, really, the contrast between Cass really treating Eva like, a person and having conversation and trying to be a mentor and really learn about who Eva is, completely juxtaposed by Ambrose's refusal to identify that it's anything more than the ship's computer.
Right.
And that he is super suspicious and super worried about everything.
Right.
I particularly enjoyed seeing Cass get super tongue-tied in the command meeting.
Oh, there at the end? Yeah.
Yeah.
Candy store flail.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
That was a great point. I mean, I agreed with you both in character and out of character that was the best mission. Like, and that was completely your idea.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the Expanse right now, so there's a lot to choose from, and everyone getting like just trying to keep everything straight is a tough one. So
yeah,
I might be jumping one of your questions here.
Sure.
But I did find it strange that we showed up and the Admiral was like, here's half a dozen things that need to be done. You choose. I was kind of expecting to be like, okay, here's the Admiral. These are our orders. Let's go take care of something.
Yeah, no, that's this region is definitely an exploratory thing. There are other ships in the region that are doing things. I'll try to make that a little bit more clear in the future. Like I have it all, what's going on, and these are the things that we're going to assign to the Europa. Figure these out. Go get them solved.
It makes sense in the context of Star Trek,
Yeah.
Right. There are other things that other ships are doing that you guys will run into that are not your assignments, but this is particularly one of these are your assignments. Go figure these out.
Sure.
Or get a Klingon to go figure these out for you. Totally legit.
Well, I am. I didn't mean to write us out of the Klingon thing entirely. I was just. I think that's an interesting arc.
It is. I'm not worried about it.
Okay, cool.
Let's see. What did you or your character learn today?
Oh, I didn't get to answer the last question. I just want to add a quick thing. I will say Ignacio chiming in during the medical meeting intrigued me, and I can't wait to see more from Vega.
Okay. So what did you or your character learn today?
I learned the captain's a secret badass.
A bunch of lifetimes.
I learned that So I've said it before that Cass, the captain's kind of grooming Cass for command, and I learned that Cass probably deserves to be in command. That was, we were always going to go with that arc, but that was a really good idea for the first task, and it was. I think if we hadn't already planned this, the captain would now be grooming you for command.
Good idea, bad idea. I'm going to go with
the Romulan on the ship.
That's exactly what I was going to go with. Not just letting her on the ship, but trying to read her mind.
Yeah.
Anybody else have one?
I wonder if Cass being as dismissive as she was of the chief scientist was a bad idea.
Yeah, I unfortunately this goes into one of the next questions. That I'll go ahead and I'll jump in for myself. Like, I feel like some of my characters are all kind of like several of the scientist characters that I've done. I think are all sounding the same to me, and I don't like it. So I got to figure out how to change that up a little bit. Also, my Klingon didn't sound the way I wanted my Klingon to sound, but it was close. So
he sounded Klingon enough. Yeah.
And Klingon sad sack, I think, came across pretty strong.
Yeah, which is what I was going for that one.
Yeah. That definitely came across pretty well. I loved him. I thought that was great. Very different from like Martok and stuff. So
What did you see from another player or character that you want to see more of in the future?
I want to see more of the shuttle pilots. They were so different that was fun.
Yeah, I definitely want to see more. I want to see Rebecca O'Connor more. I like that you chimed in a little, and I'd love to see more of her individually. You know, can I get a sense of who she is?
And I'd like to see more science team interaction generally.
Yeah, we really haven't done a whole lot of that. I think mostly because we were largely focused on DS9 and there wasn't a lot for the science team to do. So I think we're going to see more of that as we get into some of this stuff.
Into the science.
The next mission has science as a focus. So
yeah.
I'm sure we'll see more.
The next, a lot of the missions here have science as a focus. So you will need to decide at the beginning of the next episode what your modular suites are set up for. So
okay, we'll think about that. Probably anthropology.
Yeah.
If you could change one thing about this session, what would it be? As I said, I think I need to put a little bit more life into some of these, a little bit more diversity into these characters that I'm doing, and I just need to write down what voices I want to do for them because I keep forgetting their personalities or changing them after I've thought of them when I wrote them.
I thought of this a little too late, but I think that it'd be cool if Malini Silva knew a Klingon, like a low-ranking Klingon.
Okay.
I don't know if that would play into anything, or I don't know, but I'm a little disappointed that I didn't think about that until after we left the station. But,
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. It's always something to come up in the future.
Sure. Yeah.
You've not seen your last Klingon.
Right.
I think I could have done more, just preparatory thinking about what to do on Narendra Station. Because I was kind of thinking it was going to be like 4 months or something before we got there, and that's a long way to travel through space. I was sure something was going to happen. So I didn't exactly expect us to start today and be like, okay, you're on Narendra, go.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know. I thought we were going to have to, I don't know, cue some anomaly aliens. I don't know. But
no, Federation space is pretty safe for the most part.
You say that.
It's the edges of Federation space you got to worry about. But no, you're right. If we do some interior stuff, I will get there. But yeah, I wanted to jump into it, make sure we got the setup that we knew we were going with this. Plus introducing Narendra, I think, was an important because it is the hub that you guys can always fall back to if you need to. Well, not always, but for the moment, you can certainly fall back to it when needed.
I know there are a number of smaller scenes that I would like Ambrose to have, but I didn't want to, because I got like a dozen different scenes that I sort of expected to happen on Journey.
Sure.
Tell us what scenes you expect to have. I'm sure we can fit them in as we go.
Well, I mean, most of them have either come up by now or just really don't make any sense. One, Ambrose meeting with the department heads, because one of the main jobs of the XO is to supervise all the department heads.
Sure.
Well, I thought the meeting with Kostra and Cass covered a lot of that.
Yeah.
I actually think that could be a fun scene to still do too while you're out and doing stuff in the depths of space. It just might not be one of those. It wouldn't be the first meeting, but we could certainly show. Right. I love the idea of showing what a morning meeting or like a day, like a routine day would be on a ship. Yeah. I think that would be fun to do.
There's more engineering and security technobabble I'd want to discuss with Cass and Kostra. I just figured I'd limit it to the AI for this one meeting. I definitely want to have a conversation Jack really wants to have a conversation between Ambrose and the Doctor. Ambrose does not at all. So I think that needs to come up at some time. There is the drink that the captain and Ambrose were supposed to have, but I think we covered most of what we were going to cover in the off-camera morning meeting.
I don't think we need to play out every meeting they have.
Right. Yeah. And at some point, Ambrose needs to go to counseling.
Yeah.
That would be fun. I have not done much of anything yet with either Dominguez Vega or Fox, and I'm happy to start taking them out of the toy box.
Yeah, I definitely like the idea of getting a downtime episode where it's literally just this is what's going on in a normal day on the ship. But it does lean a lot on you guys. I could throw a B plot in there, but I don't know what it would be right now.
I think we could easily run 3 hours with just Good Morning Ship.
Right. I think it could be fun. That's an episode I'll have to put together. See what we can do.
I feel like I tripped over my words more today than I did in the previous DS9 diplomacy area, because there are definitely different word choices I would have used with Toshari, thinking back on it. The line was supposed to be exactly my value: diversity overcomes adversity, but I said something that didn't hit the same way.
Gotcha. Yeah. I didn't really expect the Romulan to hit as heavy as she did this episode. Like I don't have a lot written up for her. I had a vague concept, and I gotta put a lot more into her. Like I know what she's doing. I know what's going on with her on the station, but like I didn't write a character sheet for her. I'm gonna write a character sheet for her now.
Definitely would love to see more of her.
Yeah.
I would love to see her and Tekka. Something. I like the little bit of a hint that there was
something going on,
collaboration there.
Yeah,
I would love to see more of that.
I think we're looking forward to some stuff.
I would too, because I would like to see what the hell that's all about. I also realized, and I came to the realization before the scene happened that I have a character that can really screw up Tekka's world.
Yeah, you do. Betazoids.
Yep. You mentioned Kostra, Jack, and that brought me back to. I'm gonna just start keeping like little side notes that answer these questions ahead of time, because by the time we get to these questions, I don't remember things anymore. But I enjoyed for my answer of what I'd like to see more of from a character is Kostra, and that like very irreverent, I am just here to do shit with the ship, and I don't need you up my ass, and I'm not writing your reports. Just leave me alone. Screw your computer. I'm here for this, and I don't care who you are.
I'll admit part of that's me trying to keep him from hogging the screen. I kind of, since he's a support character who's, senior officer, I kind of want to keep him to the engine room. You know what I mean?
I think Kostra is the one character I don't have an image for.
I posted it.
Yeah,
I've seen it. Bad Photoshop.
All right, I'll have to see if I can find it, because I must have missed it.
I can post it again if nothing else.
Yeah, I think it's the one I'm missing.
I think for what would I do differently? I would have known where the crap my talking points were for Dasavi's address to the medical team, because I had some really good stuff, and I found the talking points afterward, and I definitely missed some of the highlights. Like I wanted I wanted her to stress to the team that she has like an open door policy, and despite her reputation, she really welcomes feedback. And like I forgot all of that.
Yeah, that didn't come across.
I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, that really
no, not at all. It did not, and I'm really disappointed about that.
Yeah, that'll happen.
we can definitely do more sick bay scenes. I love the idea of more sick bay.
All right, so you guys are going on your next mission to not Hollerin, not that one. The Aveline system, correct?
Aveline?
Yep.
Avalian. Sorry, it's the Avalian system. where you have found the one Class M world, and scans showed a civilization that appears to be approximately in the mid-21st century Earth. That's where you're headed. Good to know. All right. I don't have anything else. Has anybody else got anything?
Nope. Fantastic as always.
Negative.
All right.